and I'm honoured to start with Dr. Lucy Heedy, the CEO of ESSA, who previously held the position of Knowledge and Research Director. With almost 15 years of experience in generating and using evidence to improve education, and with ESSA's focus on unlocking the potential of female leaders, her expertise on women's inclusion in the COVID-19 recovery plans is a fitting way to begin this discussion. So Lucy, I would like to ask you, how can different actors within universities and colleges be coming together and prioritising the needs of women and girls during this time? And what practical steps can and should they be? Over to you, Lucy.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Georgia, for that introduction. And I want to start by saying what an honour it is to be invited to speak today at the Africa Students' Union Students and Youth Summit. At ESSA, students and young people are at the heart of everything we do. And so it's a real privilege to have the opportunity to speak to so many of you directly. Since the pandemic struck, hundreds of papers have been published globally on COVID-19 across science and social science. Universities and colleges have the power to transform Africa's future. They are the places where young people will learn the skills they need to navigate rapidly changing economies. They're the training ground for professionals and are in their own right hubs of knowledge. But if they're to harness this power, radical change is needed. Access must rise from the 10% average we see today. Quality must improve, as must connections to the world of work. We see rising graduate unemployment at the same time as CEOs tell us they can't find young people with the right skills. And yet, when we think about how to transform the system, we're operating in the dark. Data and evidence about the most basic elements are missing. For example, we don't know where young people go after they leave university or college, or how the system is supporting women and marginalised groups. And this is where ESSA comes in. We identify the biggest issues in education driven by the needs of young people, educators and employers. And we join up those with the power and influence from governments in sub-Saharan Africa to leaders in universities and colleges. And we support them to use evidence to maximise their resources and attract investment. Last year, we worked with the African Association of Universities and the Ghanaian government's National Council of Tertiary Education to lead a study on higher education staff and academics in Ghana. The headline there was that the country will need 5 times the current number of professors that it has to meet its booming student population over the next 5 years. But the need for more female leaders is even more urgent. Botswana has the highest proportion of female researchers at 43%, followed by Zimbabwe at 40%. Ghana and Ethiopia have the lowest percentage of female researchers, with just 23% and 17% respectively. The COVID-19 pandemic is exacerbating this. The Organisation for Women in Science for the Developing World think that women have spent more time on domestic chores than on their research since the beginning of the pandemic. Women must have more leadership opportunities to have a voice in how we reshape and build back better up past COVID-19 and to improve society for us all. And while the situation in academia and education is not unique, it can set the bar. Universities and colleges are places where women can access leadership skills. Best practice for gender policies can be demonstrated, and new research on gender issues can be pioneered. Women in leadership roles within universities and colleges can encourage more women to pursue leadership and counteract gender biases, transforming society so that it works better for everyone. But the financial
every girl, no matter where she is born, deserves the right to be educated, respected, and heard. And to this end, we fund and support solutions that not only educate girls and empower girls, but also strengthen the communities where those girls are able to flourish. With the fact that education has been particularly hard hit by the COVID-19 pandemic. According to the African Union International Center for Girls and Women Education in Africa, in April of this year, the school closures on the continent alone translated to 20 million learners out of school at pre-primary level, 160 million at primary level, 56 million at secondary, and 8 million at tertiary level. Across the continent, challenges with irregular electricity, unreliable and unavailable internet connectivity, and poverty further propound the problem of alternative pathways to learning, resulting in many students, particularly girls, having no access to continued learning during the pendency of the pandemic. It is really important to mention that prior to the COVID-19 pandemic, a 2016 UNESCO report estimated that 52 million African girls were already out of school. The 76 million women who were sampled in 9 African countries were also found to be illiterate. And the underpinning reasons for this can be attributed to systematic harmful values and norms of patriarchy, harmful traditional practices, religious and social economic pressures, as well as gender-based violence, amongst others. As regards child marriage in particular, Africa is home to 15 of the 20 countries with the highest rates of child marriage in the world. To put this into perspective, every 2 seconds, a girl is married before she is physically or emotionally mature enough to become a mother or a wife. This translates to 15 million child brides globally. We do to tackle these challenges and ensure girls are not denied their fundamental rights to an education. We offer the following. Firstly, involve girls in recovery processes. Talk to girls, listen to girls, program and design and implement with and for girls. Girls are the experts of what they need, and their contributions should not be negated. There will be much higher chances of success rates recorded if practitioners could use a girl-centered approach, for example, when onboarding girls back to school. Girls' voices, concerns, and needs should be included and must be reflected at national and local strategies. Secondly, remove all barriers that will hinder girls from resuming their studies. Policies across the continent to keep girls in school and back to school, even if they fall pregnant, are needed now more than ever to avoid catastrophic fallbacks from the hard-won gains in girls' access to education. The decision by the Economic Community of West African States Court, the ECOWAS Court, that ordered Sierra Leone to establish national-wide programs to help pregnant and nursing girls return to school after the Ebola outbreak should be used as persuasive precedents in all African Union states. Thirdly, governments, funders, and development agencies must continue to prioritize education in addition to health to ensure that there is available funding for the sector once normalcy returns to mitigate some of the eminent challenges that girls are likely to bear the brunt of. Fourthly, leverage the power of grassroots organizing. Grassroots organizations are the most effective in reaching the most vulnerable and underserved girls in any community. In close collaboration with education and health officials, they would be the most instrumental in ascertaining girl safety in community and supporting efforts to reintegrate all girls back to school, including those who previously may not have been enrolled in school prior to the pandemic. And finally, we must all denounce all forms of gender and sexual-based violence. Perpetrators of violence of gender and sexual abuse must be brought to book expeditiously and judiciously. Girls and women should not be made blameworthy and should most certainly not be discriminated as a result of such atrocities, which are often fathered through unwritten customs, cultures, and practices.
The strength of youth is so much that they can bring any change in this world. It's very important to force the governments to do their work. It's very important to make them realize their duty, what they really need to do for them. Youths are the campaign for the change. Today, people and youths from all around the world are participating in this program, in this event with us. Your voice is very, very, very important.
So student, youth leaders, governments, and institutions should come together to cut the chains that hold down women and children from attaining their full potential. So as the All Africa Students Union, we are emphasizing on community engagement grassroots mobilization to bring together community leaders in educating and sensitizing on COVID-19 measures. And then the other thing is that we are encouraging students to support movements in the medical field that are asking for higher pays from their government institutions. Those that are asking for PPEs, proper PPEs, we are asking students to advocate for them as well, to louder their voices so that we have much more needed support in the health sector that is quite dire at the moment. We are also asking the student community to use their research skills in getting into the deep exploration of this novel coronavirus that we have little or no experience in dealing with in this time. We are asking students' unions from across Africa to use their network in their universities, in their institutions, to help bring back our girls back to school, because we need a generation that will foresee that we get to where we want to be as a continent, and not just for Africa, but across the world.